Hey, Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, of course, we're going to go over the red on the charts. This is basically a profit taking day, so we did have a great week. We did have a great weekend, and that does mean that some people would like to put some cash in their pocket. We do have a very unstable macroeconomic conditions out there. We also have the threat of war on two fronts from Russia and China. And so we do have, just the tendency to take profit, at baby steps, at increments along the path as we march up. This doesn't mean that I'm bearish, but it does mean that I understand that the market is taking profits. And, one of the ways that we can evaluate this is that it's a fairly green day yesterday on stocks. And you can just see that with a couple days of green in a row, at some point the market is going to want to take its profits. And so crypto is doing that right now, being the riskier asset. But of course, stocks probably will have, a day of pullbacks, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Not 100% sure, but being Monday, we're probably going to just be pretty consistent with the weekend. And by the end of the week, we'll see the true nature of, just how deep this retracement could possibly go. However, stocks have been pumping last week, so it does make sense for some profit taking even on Monday. Jumping over to the Kadena chart, basically, a lot of people were thinking that this thing was just going to rocket to outer space to 330, like in a straight beeline, but that really wouldn't make sense. I mean, even look how it came down from 330, right? Just chop, 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 chop. So, we're going to get a couple chops on the way back up, assuming that we're going to retrace this candle and reach these stretch goal levels. If we just look at the stretch goal that I laid out before us, I did add this support line down here. I did, just add this logo and move this over from here to here. But effectively, everything is the same. So, some people didn't think that we would reach this kind of retrace, this buyback area at $2 to what I suggested, maybe $1.90, $2 to $1.90 as kind of a retrace buyback area. As long as we don't violate $1.80, I just see that as fairly bullish no matter what. We do have a pretty good support that we've built up down here, converted this previous resistance to support. We're testing to see if we've converted this resistance right here, to support. It acted as support before. I don't see why it couldn't act as support again. So, this is a pretty decent area to be buying around this kind of a $2 mark. But being that Bitcoin is having a pullback and that stocks actually may open up a little bit red, let's jump over to the Nasdaq. You can see that stocks are kind of, just taking a little bit of profits, meeting a little bit of resistance right here. And so if we do have a tendency to just retrace a little bit, you can see the pre-market is down. Just look at the S&P. S&P also retracing a little bit. Pre-market is also down. The Russell 2000 also down. Let's look at the Dow Jones. Dow Jones can't really tell, but anyway, you can see that today is probably going to be a profit-taking day. It's going to be a little bit of a retracement day. That doesn't mean that we're super bearish. We do have some of these gaps down here on stocks. So if stocks did want to do a deeper retracement and kind of fill in those gaps, that could get a little bit scary on the charts, but it wouldn't necessarily be bearish, okay? The only thing that's going to be bearish is if we turn this previous resistance that we have over here on this on the left side of our chart. if we returned that back to resistance, right? We want to kind of use that area as support. So even if we come down, fill these type of gaps, for example, on the Dow Jones, and then bounce from there, that's still super bullish in my mind. Okay. So you can see we have a similar gap on the SPY. Let's see, on the QQQ, we have a similar gap, so the NASDAQ, right? And, on the NAS 100, which I often use for stocks, we do have a thin area down here that might get retested, right? Just to see what the price action can fill in there. So this might also follow along with the rest of them. And so, guys, like Bitcoin is actually retracing right now. We are below that $24,000 level that I wanted to see us at. That $24,000 level is pretty critical to what I believe we need to hold on to, but it's only in the beginning of the day. We have half a day to go before the day closes. So, basically, we met our goal for the weekend, and as long as we can close, above 24,250, right? 24,250, then we're still going to be in pretty good shape, pretty good shape. So let me just put a line here. Yeah, let's just bias it to the upside a bit to 24,260. And as long as we just come back to that, I'm perfectly fine, right? Ignore these signals. I'm just working on some kind of a macro signals there. Probably should just hide that. Yep. Let's see. That one's fine. Get rid of that one. That one. Yeah, you do see that Bitcoin is basically still trying to fill out this wedge. If we call it this accumulation wedge, as long as we don't break down from 23,700, let's see what my indicators say. Mm, let's see. They don't like 24,000 being lost, to be honest. Let's look at a 12-hour. Hmm. Yeah, a lot of these are looking for that 24,500 that I talked about in the last macro video. But yeah, I think 24,250 is probably going to be the line that we need to meet. I understand that a lot of these have a pretty big tolerance for some moves. So, for example, maybe the MACD can hold on until 23,100. Let's see, where would that bring us? All the way to the bottom of this previous candle, I guess. Yeah, but that would look pretty bearish if we just did a fake out to the downside on this kind of accumulation wedge here, and then popped back up. I guess we could do that, but you know what? Yeah, for me personally, just to be safe, I don't want to break down from this wedge. So, hmm, well, I guess we could use the wicks. Yeah, on a wicks basis, yeah, 23,300. So basically, we're talking about, let's just say 24,300. Above that, we're going to be very bullish. Below 23,300, we're going to be, it's going to get pretty scary, right? And we definitely don't want to break that 23,100. So, look out for those key levels on Bitcoin. Otherwise, we're just kind of meandering around. Not necessarily a big deal. Again, we do have this, ascending wedge formation that, looks like it might be the one that's actually printing. I'm keeping the accumulation wedge just in case we do pop up there, make support, and then go for it. But this kind of more ascending, a triangle does have a tendency to break to the downside. So we do have to be on alert, guys. Like, well, this is not a clear answer. The only thing that I can say is that because our altcoins do have a tendency to just be, firing off to the upside, like you can see it left and right on various different altcoins, they are just firing off. It does make me believe that Bitcoin may follow that model, even though the market makers and the algorithms and the bots and whatnot are trying to put in like this kind of like fake bearish pattern, okay? This is not a bearish pattern. This is high, higher, high, higher, high, higher, high, even higher, high, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, even higher, low, right? So as long as we don't violate these wicks down here, it's not like we've made a lower low, and we definitely haven't made a lower high. So this is a bull trend. There's no way I'm going to be bearish on this trend as long as we're making higher highs and higher lows. So I don't care if this is an ascending triangle. I don't care about patterns. Price action matters to me, and the price action is bullish. Okay, we've had fake out candles, we've had fake out patterns before. One thing that we can just say for certain is that this price action is in fact bullish. And yes, I'm going to be a little bit worried if we break below 23,300. And yes, I'm not really going to be super bullish unless we, reclaim 24,000, 300 pretty solidly with a maybe a 4-hour candle or something. But just hanging out here, there's no problem in the world in my mind. Okay, like we're pretty chill. I have no problem to consider to DCA into some of these altcoins that may be having pullbacks, including, of course, the topic of today, which is Kadena. And so the reason I showed you Bitcoin is because as long as Bitcoin doesn't violate the bottom limits that I was showing you, then if you have a chance to DCA into this kind of like retrace buyback area, then why not? Right? Why not? And then you can just put a stop loss underneath it. That's my opinion. Again, a lot of guys just thought we were gonna bust up here and go straight up. That's not how it works. I mean, we're gonna have retraces. So that's why I told you that I was selling at 240, right? I sold at 240 because this wick was extremely bullish. As soon as it started to come back into this channel, of course I'm going to take my profits. I mean, it wasn't able to push through the resistance solidly, right? So of course I'm going to take my profits on, as it's retracing. And so that was a great place to be taking profits. And if you took profits there with me, you saved 20% because we just dropped 20%. So, I have these boxes for a reason, right? Like I have this retrace buyback area for a reason. Look, we came back down to it, okay? Could I extend it here, right? Maybe I was a little bit too bearish. Okay, fine. Yeah, and we wicked down into that area. I probably, I don't know where this diagonal was going to come from. I only had one point to mark out, but just taking a parallel line from the top of the chart, which does have a much clearer trend to it, right? Like you can see, like this price action, the candles themselves have a pretty good diagonal on it. And I'm just estimating. I'm not really hitting the top of the wicks or anything because that's a little bit too bullish in my mind. I mean, it's just, like we're missing this area, we're missing that area. So I'd rather just go with a little bit more conservative, just kind of like hit the candles, make sure I hit all of these areas, run through them, and then I've got a pretty good idea of how this price action here is making highs. Now, I didn't really have enough to convince me that I had kind of like a bottom uptrend line. Yeah, I could have done this, right? I could have made some type of a wedge, and then we broke down from that wedge, right? I mean, we were talking about these type of wedges. We also were talking about them with ADA. And so, yeah, like we take our profit, when we kind of like have a fake out to the top side of this wedge, and then we break down. And then, of course, I had already set the retrace area. So obviously, I felt that that was going to happen. But the fact is that we're going to reach a bottom on this retrace. We're probably, in my opinion, not financial advice. It could happen that we come all the way back down. Kadena does love to do just a full retraces, right? Kadena just loves to basically come all the way back down, to where you started. And so if, we did just come back down here, I mean, again, guys, don't be terribly surprised, okay? If Bitcoin takes a big dump, then Kadena potentially can come back to these lows. Maybe this support here, maybe this support here, maybe this support here. But as long as Bitcoin maintains bullishness, and again, that's why I was marking out Bitcoin for you, then I would expect us to probably be maintaining this kind of a channel, right? And so maybe we get some resistance up here before we finally get there, right? So again, like that's why I have a take profit area right here. I was expecting a retracement, and then if we're able to get bullishness on Bitcoin, then probably we can reach this 270 area. And if we're lucky, we're going to get that that 330 area, maybe even higher, right? Like Kadena can do more, in fact. But we're just going to be conservative. We're going to be not perma-bulls about this coin, not going to be perma-bears. We're going to be clever little alpha monkeys, and we're going to take our profit along the way because we are in a macro downtrend, okay? There's no proof of a macro turnaround, okay? We are in a macro downtrend, and so always be taking your profits, right? Always be selling, always be taking your profits, put food on your table. These coins aren't going to do anything for you just holding them. You sell them, you buy them back on a retrace, and guess what? You just pocketed 20% instead of losing 20%, right? What happens if this entire market just shits the bed tomorrow? You're going to be locked into all those coins, right? And we're all going to be buying down here because we took our profits at 240, right? Of course, you do risk that you could, miss the move if it does just shoot up. But hey, if you sold at 240, you can have a buy order at 241 or whatever. And if it bullishly surpasses whatever price that you sold at, you can buy back in, right? So you don't have to really worry about these things. There's always an up and a down on, every single, like all of these candles have some type of a pair, right? So, getting in on some retrace is a pretty good idea. Uh, you know, you can hodl at these levels if you want. I'm not going to dissuade anybody from doing that. This coin is like 90%, right? It's like 85 to like 95% down or something like that. And so those are excellent levels to be DCing in, to be honest, okay? I'm not going to dissuade anyone from doing that. But, this is a trading channel, so we trade here, right? This isn't a hodling channel, right? I'm not trying to teach you guys how to just like stuff coins in your pockets and just hold on to them for 10 years and maybe the coin disappears, before you cash out. I don't care about these coins in terms of, all the idealism that people put into them. I do love Kadena as a project. I think that's a great project. I really hope Kadena succeeds. I've actually used the Kadena network personally. I've bought NFTs on the Kadena network. Okay, so I've been actually using Kadena, and again, it's like I don't have to believe in it to just know that I can use it. I like using it, and that I believe in the project. I believe in the technology behind Kadena. But again, I'm gonna sell at 240 if it makes sense for me to sell at 240, and I'm gonna buy back at $2 or $1.90, right? If it makes sense to buy back at $1.90 or $2, right? That's trading. That's saving 20% instead of leaving 20% on the table. So you guys can do what you want. You can freak out because we're retracing and just buy back in when we're back over 240 and you feel comfortable that we're bullish again, or you can buy back as we're kind of retesting some of these candles down here. Up to you. We do have basically 1, two, three, four layers of support below us before we ever, break down to hell or whatever. And so if you've been trading along with us since a dollar 50-ish, then you should be in pretty good shape, right? Like the risk should be fairly low because you've either taken your profit on these moves with us or you bought in with us here. And so even if it retraced all the way back, you have four layers of support to catch you on the way down. And these are basically our entry prices anyway. But do I really think that this area is going to get violated? Most likely not. I think maybe we could come down as far as like 175-ish, maybe, right? Maybe just maybe just testing this candle in the top of some of these mid-range candles, but otherwise I would expect 185 190 to catch us, and we may even just bounce straight from $2, and this may just be a parallel channel here. We may basically just be drawing out something like this, and in fact, that's what I hope that we're doing so that I can take some profit up here around 275, maybe 265. And then if there's a bit of a retrace or just some type of consolidation, I'll consider at that time to buy back in wherever, the price action may land. It could pull back deeper. Bitcoin may just shit the bed, right? And then, if everything looks okay, then, maybe we go to 330. All right, guys, I'm not going to spend too much more time on this. That's Kadena. That was your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.